I've heard different people share their thoughts or seen people's comments online wishing that this whole year just wouldn't have happened. Can we get a redo on 2020? Or maybe since we're almost halfway through, just kind of skip over to the next year. All sorts of crazy stuff going on. It's really easy for many people to become discouraged. Jeremiah, in the first reading today, he also, during his time, had to fend off discouragement. He was called by God to be a prophet, to preach conversion to the people, and so one would think, in following God, everything would work out for him. But the people rebelled against God. And as Jeremiah was trying to warn them to turn back to the Lord, they didn't like God's message, and so they ended up seeking to kill him. And Jeremiah says in that first reading, I hear the whisperings of many, terror on every side. Denounce, let us denounce him. All those who are my friends are on watch for any misstep of mine. Even those that he thought were his friends discovered that they too were among those trying to get back at him. And it appears that we live in a time too when discouragement can get so high in the world around us that just as it happened in Jeremiah's time, the discouragement can lead to conflict between one another. Jesus once told St. Faustina that one of the greatest obstacles to holiness is discouragement. And so how do we work against becoming discouraged? What should we do when we begin to feel that way? And today happens to be the day that we remember and honor all of our fathers. And that really kind of points us in the right direction for dealing with discouragement. See, the world seems to have gone crazy because so many have forgotten that we have a Father. Discouragement is that lie that the enemy places within us that things will never get better, that nobody really is out there that cares for me, that I'm alone. But the truth is quite different from that. Do not be afraid. You are not alone. You have a Father who cares for everything that happens in your life. We see in the gospel, are not 2 sparrows sold for a small coin? Yet not one of them falls to the ground without your Father's knowledge. Even all the hairs on your head are counted. So do not be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. So nothing happens to us in this life without God's knowledge. Even the smallest of detail does not go unnoticed by him. Our Father knows exactly what each one of us are going through. And this knowledge of this is what assisted Jeremiah to overcome the temptation to be discouraged. He says, knowing that the Lord is with me like a mighty champion, my persecutors will stumble, they will not triumph. Discouragement means that we've lost heart. That's literally what the word means when you break it apart. Discouragement. The middle part, cor, is a Latin word that means heart. So when we're discouraged, it means we've lost heart. And the opposite is courage. Courage means we have heart, we have hope, we have the ability, the strength to go on even when there's difficulties. So how do we get courage? How do we find heart? Well, the psalm that we sung has this wonderful line. See you lowly ones and be glad. You who seek God, may your hearts revive. So we need to turn to our Father who can revive our hearts. This past Friday was the solemnity of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And the image of the Sacred Heart that we have in our churches, this image we see Jesus' heart exposed, open to us. This natural symbol of love. Jesus is offering us his love, which is, of course, the love of the Father. His support, his comfort. When we are discouraged, when we have lost heart, we need to turn to the Sacred Heart so that we may be revived by the Father's love. When we are without heart, we must go to the one who has heart. So devotion to the Sacred Heart always is combined with devotion to Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. When we receive the Eucharist, we receive Jesus' heart. You know, it's not surprising that the world can become so steeped in discouragement when many live apart from knowing this great gift from the Father. You know, it's not surprising that we ourselves can be drawn into the trap of being discouraged, especially when, for many weeks, we were separated too from this source of Jesus' heart. It's from his Sacred Heart in the Eucharist that our hearts will revive. And that's how great God's love is for us, that we are not alone in difficulty, that not one thing in our life goes unnoticed. Do not be discouraged. I will give you my heart, he says. I will place a new heart within you. So be encouraged. You are not alone. Do not lose heart. The Father is with us.